Hmm. Interesting. So I'm trying to get this to work. Delete. Move. Yeah. Interesting. Browser, I think. Huh. Hmm. Interesting. Louis Rossman is streaming a Denver town hall meeting right now regarding flock cameras. Wow, based. I'd love to watch it, but I don't want to be a content thief. And whoever tipped me in XMR with XMR chats, thank you. I appreciate it. From the other day, I'm like refixing OBS to work with that because, again, my you know my thoughts are conflicting. So I'm about 200 hours away from being able to turn on some form of do like some form of monetization with YouTube, which if I have to upload a government ID, I would not want to do that. And I've had some thoughts about this in terms of like ethical consumption, my issues with ads in general, the privacy community in perspective, and my concerns with YouTube as a platform as well. Jeff Gerling did a really good video on this. Surprisingly, he talks about how YouTube mid-roll ads are like insane. Like sometimes I think it automatically does it. Like you have to go in and change shit if you don't want like your ads to like the ads to be like overwhelming. Some people put like 30 ads into like a fucking like 20-minute video. If you ever watch like a Linus Test Tips video and put up sponsor block, it's literally fucking ads and then like 80% sponsored like content, and then I mean Linus Tech Tips at this point is just a billboard. Like I get to do testing, but I can't watch his content anymore because it's just like fucking skips half the video. It's either self promotion or promotion. Surprisingly, I mean, no. Surprisingly, he talked about it. I like Jeff Gearing's videos. I'm surprised that he brought this up because a lot of creators don't talk about the ad. They talk about their revenue and they talk about shit that we all know, but he talks about how it's insane. It's surprising that this isn't automated like YouTube automatic. Yeah, no, you're good. YouTube automatically does the ads. So first off, I get ads on my channel regardless. I have no control over that, but I don't get any pay for it because I'm not part of the YouTube partner program. Because I've asked like viewers, and I'm just like, there's people that I know. There's people that are like sub so many like they're below the sub count and etc. etc. And because they're below the sub count and like the hour count, they quite literally still give ads on it, and it's just like it'd be very tiring and annoying to constantly like look at this. It should just like YouTube should ask you like, hey, what do you want to add? How many ads do you want? And that's it, and that's how it should be. They should take that into consideration. That is kind of my problem. XMR chat's cool. I mean, whoever donated me $5.04, thank you, appreciate it. And asked about Magic the Gathering, which is based, which I will like go over some of my plays and my thoughts on how I play. But I will say that getting I think donations are like different. I know a lot of people were like dunking on Charlie, going like I shouldn't be asking for donos because I make all this money from YouTube. But not everyone makes that kind of money from YouTube. Maybe him, I guess. Like that is understandable. I don't use Sponsor Block, but I do use uBlock Origin and YouTube Enhancer, which is also blocks YouTube ads. So I never see an ad on YouTube. YouTube always fucks with ads, even with partner. Yeah. I use Sponsor Block because there are certain channels like if I want to listen to the sponsor, I'm fine. But a lot of these sponsors that I come across are, I mean, this is going to be kind of a rant. I see a lot of channels take sponsorships that aren't even related to each other, and it's just gross. It's like, I don't know. I get it, make your money, but I feel like they don't do their research, and they could be putting their money into a company like Entitled Lands is a perfect example. That did its rounds. No one did their research. Shitty company. BetterHelp, same thing. No one did their rounds. Everyone took it. Shitty company. I just skipped them manually. I'm okay with that. I get why people use Sponsored Block, though. Most YouTube sponsorships are terrible. They are. And not only they're terrible, I feel like no one's still like doing like at least some form of due diligence. Like at all. So we're stuck in a rock and a hard place of like, why are you even promoting this? Like you quite literally have nothing to do with this. BetterHelp, Magic Spoon's another one. NordVPN, Fume is another one. Fume was fucking retarded. If you even thought that, anyone who thought that was a good idea was stupid. Some of the time, and they're so robotic. They're like, I use this product. I'm like, no, you don't. There's no way you were using this product beforehand. All the scripts sound the same. Like there's another one called Simply Safe. These people don't actually use their products, so they don't think to vet them. And I think that is irresponsible. Ooh, this is going to clap my cheeks. This is a good counter to this, actually. In general, is to get I can't think of the name. There's a red deck where it prevents them from gaining health. So this is kind of an annoying. It's the rabbit one. Yeah. Oh, and the scripts are all the same. Yeah, they're very close, and it hurts me because some of these creators, I get it, like this is their income. All right. I'm cooked on this one. I'm gonna go back to Goblin mode. So, like Simply Safe is one that I saw make its rounds. First off, I don't want fucking AI alarm system in my house. You are crazy to think that that's even a good thing. I read through the privacy policy. It's not good. They say that blah blah blah. Like this was our first thought and blah. The thing is, when somebody else controls the data, their policies can change. This is an argument that I quite frequently bring up. Yeah, they're just given a bullet point to talk about, so all the ads are the same. Like, yeah, I get it, but you should have some more integrity. Stop advertising. Yeah, or do a layer, a one layer deep of research on the company. Who owns it? Like, you have all this money and time, and you're telling me you can't even hire someone to be like, hey, you should probably not take this. Again, I have no problem with sponsorships. I think I even have less of a problem with a sponsorship in a video that has no correlation to the industry to a certain degree, but at the same time, that's also dangerous because you have non-technical people shilling VPNs, and they shill these VPNs and act like they sell it as a bulletproof item. I'm going to be making a deck. They sell it as a bulletproof item, and it's a problem. The only channel I give a pass to is Internet Historian because his ad reads are legitimately entertaining. I would watch the ad regardless, even if it's company he earns the ad watch. Yeah, there's some people that I've like, or at least they're authentic with what they pick. Like they're not picking every, like the major sponsors right now is any data deletion company. Yeah, everyone acts like VPNs are magical. True. Like anything so like I get, so the issue is the biggest one are data deletions, Simply Safe, that I've been seeing. What's the other one? There's another one. I block most of this shit, so it's so difficult. But some of them sneak in, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is bad. I can already see this making the rounds. Magic Spoon was kind of retarded. I mean, it was cool in theory because it was fucking like cereal, but I think they went bankrupt. Yeah, data deletion. The only data deletion that I use that I tested out is easy opt-outs because it's $20 a year. And they had a consumer report that said they're like the okay-ish. And then you should, in between, like Michael Basil says, is do it yourself. Do it yourself, data deletion. The company's okay. I mean, I heard them dropped a couple times with other people, like privacy people. But other than that, I went and did my own research and came to my conclusion that they're an okay company. It's just two people that run it. They're not asking for an insane amount of money, like $10 a month or $120 a year. And they just they send a report every 4 months. If I'll know in a year if it's like kind of worth it, because I mean I fake most of my data anyways out in the public, and I try to delete as much as possible as myself, and I try not to leave any breadcrumbs. I mean, nothing's perfect. If someone really wants to find me, they can. That's not the purpose. The purpose is I don't want these companies to do it. A data deletion company could help, but I think they're completely oversold. That's why I like, honestly, I'm not trying to sell it. Easy opt-outs is like $20 a year. So, and they tend to charge a lot for their service. Yeah, 100%. Easy opt-outs is $20 a year, and they say they use a script. Their script is, and it's two people. I mean, like, I'm not trying to sell it. I don't think they're the superior end bullet, but they're legitimately the best value for it. Like $20, oh shit, you're out $20 for the whole fucking year. Yeah, $20 a year is really reasonable. Yeah, it is reasonable, and especially they tell you what they do. They're really big on free and open source software. I I think they just kind of like roll with it, like, hey, this is what we want, this is what it is, and this is how it should be positioned. Which is, I think, they offer the most reasonable service, and until they do, and if they do something, until they do something otherwise, I think they're okay. Consumer Reports. What's it called? Slip. They have their own permission slip. Permission slip is pretty cool. I think they're really cheap. I think they're like the only other, and I think reports came out. Other reports came out. That easy opt-outs is the most reasonable besides doing it yourself. Consumer Reports. I think it's cheap. So they're a little bit more expensive. They're $60 a year. But they have a reasonable. They have a reasonable removal process. Like they're like, they're gonna do like 50 requests or so. It's not like unlimited requests or like unlimited deletions. They have a reasonable one. They have a free tier actually, for people that like, because they just value privacy. Consumer Reports is actually really cool. I've looked at stuff like appliances and stuff and see like what their warranty policy is, etc., etc. I think it's pretty awesome. They're like another option out there, or you can do Michael Basil's preferred method is do it your fucking self, which you should. I mean, and I get it, it's time consuming, but do it slowly. You don't have to do it tomorrow. You don't have to do it in one day. Everyone's acting like you got to do it in one fucking day. You know what I mean? That's retarded. Take privacy in security is not a race. It's a marathon. It is consistent. You're going to change your opinions 5 months from now. You might actually keep Facebook. You don't know this. Like, you don't know what you're going to think in 5 months. You might be like, I need to keep Facebook, but I'm willing to do. If someone came up to me and was like, hey, I'm keeping Facebook to talk to my friends overseas, they don't want to down signal, whatever. But they switch all of their emails with email aliasing. They switch to Signal still. They get a better email provider. They use ad blocker. Give all your personal info into established titles so you can call yourself a lord. For real. But say like you just keep Facebook, but you switch to 59 other free and open source softwares that respect your privacy that get you. You didn't do 99%, like you 99% worse than the rest of people. You did 99% better, and that 1% is the only thing that's keeping you back. You're never going to be 100% because there's always going to be some level of compromise that you're going to have. You just got to figure out what your compromise is. Like, okay, Facebook is going to have my tutor email, and it's going to be aliased, and it's going to have 2FA on it, and I'm not going to make my profile public. And I'm going to put, my favorite switch is to Graphene. Yeah, Graphene OS is the best move. And I've gotten people to switch to Graphene OS. I think it's great. Even with them talking about a vendor. 1,000,000 times better than vanilla Android. Yeah, it's way better. I get to block stuff at the network level. If I, why does my anime girl? If my Radeon Graphics is switching from Windows to Linux, 100%. Well, I've been Linux for a long time, so That ship sailed. Let me think. What was my favorite switch? From Gmail to Tutanota. My favorite, besides Graphene OS, if you had to ask, like, my emails. So this sounds quite crazy. Email saves me a lot of headache. I have a lot of warranties with my email. Because I don't delete emails too often, and I don't give out my real email. I give out my aliased email. So I store my warranties in important files just in case I lose the physical copy. I'm looking up setting up Warranty R. It's like a self-hosted warranty tracker. I might do that in the future and have it all there, but I like to have a backup. And I like to know what email it was sent to because I, again, alias all my emails, so I have to think about this. My email stack is probably my favorite setup. I have a non-addy with Tutanota. What do you mean by warranties? Like my warranties for products I buy. If I buy a product and it has a lifetime warranty or a limited time warranty, and I need to save the warranty because they email it to me, I put my warranties in my email and I save it there. So instead of me calling somebody, I just email them like, hey, my warranty, my device is defective. Here's my warranty. Yeah, it saved me like 3 different times because I couldn't find the physical warranty, but I had it in my email. And important documents, and the list goes on. But because if your house catches fire and you don't have a fucking good backup or a fire bag or a fire safe or whatever, and you lost all your warranties, you're gonna be pissed, aren't you? And not everything can be done over Signal. So like the company emailing me my warranty was, all right, cool. Can you put that in email? Here's my email file, and then I know what email I use too if they ask for it. They're like, what email did you guys use so we can issue like you a refund or like so you can go repurchase it, whatever, however they want to do it. I'm like, here it is. Now because I don't have to search through a non-addy, but my favorite stack is a non-addy with Tutanota, with Aegis. Aegis 2FA, my favorite, and then hardware authentication when I'm allowed to. KeyPass is another one. I didn't think I was going to like KeyPass. I love Bitwarden still. I know people shit on him, but I love, like, Bitwarden is amazing. Ooh, a new goblin. So we're going to do, Haste and Mayhem, a 5-drop. We're going to do 3 of him. I fucking love KeyPass is great. Again, I love Bitwarden. I think they do great work. It is no hate against them, but I wanted to get away from the cloud as much as possible and as efficient as possible. As efficient and as fast as possible. Have you ever used StarOS? StartOS? No, but I use Umbrel. I like StartOS. StartOS is the reason that I like MIT license. MIT license are actually I listened to a really good interview with him. I really like him. I like his attitude. I only ask because it's got a bitware emulation. I haven't tried it yet. Oh yeah, it's got Vault Warden. Here's my problem with this, and I'm gonna piss off the open source nerds. Self-hosting is not a security feature. I use StartOS and run my Bitcoin node. Nice based. I'm gonna be running Ronin Dojo. I'm not a huge Bitcoin maxi, but when I want to swap my Bitcoin, Vault Warden, I don't know anything about it though. So Vault Warden is so here's the thing. To run Bitwarden, they first off they allow self-hosting, but to run it self-hosted, it is very resource intensive. Somebody went out, forked it, and made Rust version that's smaller and maintainable, easier, less resources, nice. But the problem is you need a fully qualified domain. You can solve this with DNS challenge. So you can solve this with DNS. So you can solve this with DNS challenge, and have a fully qualified domain in your house. But you have to remember one thing: if you are not maintaining and securing this, you essentially do you do programming? I know a small amount. I know a little bit of Python. I know a small amount of Rust. Just here and there, stuff like Bash, like very small amount of Bash. I can read some stuff, like I can like read it and like interpret it and kind of like ask the internet what I should do, kind of thing. But I would never call myself a programmer. I like Go. Go is kind of cool. I might like learn Go or C. Now that I got my laptop back, finally, because like that's on my desktop is purely for gaming and YouTube, and the occasional, yeah. It's like I'm interested in reading about it. Like I was like interested in assembly, and I wrote some small programs in assembly, and I kind of like wanted to understand how it worked. Assembly's like you got to be cracked smart for that shit. Assembly's a different breed. Oh, my desktop is for putting stuff on my main TV. Yeah, pretty much. Like I love my desktop. No offense to my big baby. I will forever be grateful for it. But I've always been fascinated by it. Yeah, assembly is a really interesting program. It's very cool. I'm never gonna hate on it, because I think that to have the ability. Let me choose them. Until the end of your next turn, play that main card. 1 or 2 target creatures each get +1 in games. Oh, okay, that's nice. Craft all. Like my main boy. It's definitely done. It does a lot for me, but at the same time, my laptop gets me out of the house. It makes me functional, if that makes sense. Like getting away from my house allows me to think more. It's not always yeah, big titties, hell yeah. Impact Tremors. Yeah, I get that. But assembly is so cool. That's how I found out. There we go. Oh, what is it called? Like, assembly's cool. Roller Coaster Tycoon was built in assembly. I found out entirely, which is kind of sick. That's why it was so efficient. It can be run on anything. I feel like a dying breed because I only do prefer accessing things via actual computer versus phone or tablet, but I actually consume all my content via PC connected to my TV rather than a smart app or whatever. No, that's fair. I have an MP3 player. I can't talk shit. I can't say that I'm watching videos on my phone. I listen to some podcasts on my phone, but mainly I've shifted to all MP3 player. When the Tamagara comes back, the fully open source MP3 player, I would love to get it. Only because it's fully open source, repairable, and allows it's less distracting for me. I think people want to make all these stupid people. The thing is, people want to make these fucking dumb phones, put them at an insane price, and then they have insecure. So like they're running insecure SMS. They have no option for Signal. You don't know if they're updating their firmware. You don't know. You don't know how long that company is going to be around. It's just not worth it. And they're expensive. Just buy a regular flip phone at that point. You ain't fucking doing anything different. It's the same thing as listening to vinyl tape CD. They all have their limitations, which makes them more. Yeah. And to be completely honest, we have hit. I will eventually do a video. I'm almost done with it. I will do. I'm going to do a video on like how I obtain music ethically, and how I escape the Spotify sinkhole. Because like the problem with Spotify is you're essentially listening to, you have too much music to choose from. The recommendation software sucks. You're never going to fully enjoy albums. There's no point. You're going to just listen to someone's fucking retard nerd's view on it, like Anthony Fantano. You're like, this is good. Yeah, music critic, got pee-pee poo-poo. Spotify is musical night. Yeah. It's a musician's nightmare, too, because now they're kind of forced to be on there, even though they get paid dog shit. Like, massive dog shit. Critters don't get compensated properly. Yeah. Oh my God. So Tidal is the quote unquote best. Hell no. Tidal is the best quote unquote paying one. And by the way, Spotify, credit to them for figuring it out. Yeah. Yeah. You know what's funny is Spotify. I think someone pointed out. Oh no, it's a scam. They're fucking their artists, but they're the best payers. So think about that one. That's the scary part. Hey, I will give Tidal this. At least you can play FLAC files. Spotify, you can't. You can't even play lossless quality. That's embarrassing. And that could be the highest plan. Like, not only that, I can buy FLAC files. That's based. And I can play them. Remember the Zune? Are we old enough to remember the Zune in the chat? I'm a Plethora user of early 2000s, so I don't really mind losses versus non-losses. I think that anything from 2000 later is good enough. Oh, 100%. But there are, I'm just saying, like, you're paying for, like, the fact that people are paying for it should be of concern. and they're not even getting it. Yeah, I was like one of 5 members that got to use a Zune once. They actually had a cool fucking feature where you could share music with like other people. It was kind of sick. Like with friends, you could wirelessly, you could just share, and they had like a streaming service kind of before it was cool. And I don't like the subscription model. I don't have a huge problem when it makes sense, when there's some form of efficacy in it with it. Dude, when Apple first started selling MP3s, they were selling 120 gigabytes MP3s for $1.90 each. It was such a ripoff. Oh, and they sounded terrible. Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know why people like Apple Music either. What was another one? iPod. So Apple's iPod Touch, the Shuffle, was the only good thing they ever made. No, actually, I take that. Their iPod Touch was the only good thing they made. Not the Shuffle. The Touch was the only good thing they ever did. These days, I think it's all about people who buy into the app. Yeah, of course. Have these fucking retards don't even use Apple. They don't use Apple email. They don't care. All they care about is FaceTime and the look and the ease of use. And that is such a it's so copium. People act like Android is like fucking like command line level fucking like they think it's like fucking FreeBSD with no manual. Oops. Okay. I fucked that there one up. iPod Mini was cool, but it was a 4 gig device with a tiny mechanical hard drive instead of it. You gotta think that was kind of peak at its time. If you remember, if you remember when who did it? Sony. No, someone made a phone with a mechanical hard drive. It was kind of based at the time. Damn, I gotta find this. Or was it a phone or was it a camera? No, it was definitely a phone. I'm not making this up. Not sure who made the phone, but iPad Mini was really ahead of its time. All of the original iPods were. Even a bigger iPod still had fragile disk-based hard drives inside there, hard to fix. But could they support loops? Well, actually, the cool thing about my MP3 player, I can put files on it, which is kind of funny. Man, this one is going to fucking grind the shit out of my gears. I watched a video on this. There was a cell phone manufacturer, I think, or was it a Sony? I swear I saw a British person talk about this. Yep, here it is. I was not... Oh, God, 40 fucking minutes? This is what YouTube's... 18 minutes? What do you need 18 minutes to explain?
Welcome back to another video.
So this was it. I found it. So I'm not crazy. God, 18 fucking... 44 minutes on explaining a fucking... Why a phone has a no card slot or anything. Expanded capacity. It was a 120-bit MP3 player from Diamond. I stole an MP3 player from Best Buy once. I joined Sony. Intense typing. I swear I heard a British person. No card slot or anything to expanding the capacity. Yeah. Yeah, British. I swear it was British, man. But it was Nokia phone with HHD. This was it. This was like crazy. So the Nokia N1 was a mobile phone produced by Nokia that featured internal hard disk drive, making it one of the first smartphones to incorporate this technology. It was announced in April 2005, released in 2006, initially with a 4 gig hard drive capable of storing up to 3,000 songs, with an 8 gig version following September 2006. That must have been insane. The device was designed a flagship multimedia phone combining music player back to 2 megapixel camera, 3G connectivity, Wi-Fi, and a fully Symbian OS based. Symbian is Linux. I remember Symbian. It was kind of cool. Holy shit, I never heard of this phone. Yeah, it probably because it was expensive and no one really bought it. Best Buy's website is slow and they don't have that stuff I want. Newegg is the way to go. True. I sold phones back in 1999, 2000, 2001 at Circuit City. Yeah. That's some old people shit right there. No. Features. It features a 2 megapixel camera player playing songs encoding either AAC, AAC Plus, EEAC, MP3. Oh, nice! It supported WAV. And Microsoft's WAM format is generally considered the benchmark of the music department simply for its unparalleled sound quality through headphones. It also features 3G Wi-Fi connect. I would love to get one of my hands on this. Nokia was really pushing Symbian back then. I really wish it would. Nokia and LG were, in my opinion, the best innovators in the phone industry. They were all, it doesn't matter if it was always a good idea, they were at least trying. And I hate to say it, okay, I'm sorry, but the LG Wing was fucking goated. This was great. We're better off with Symbian than Android. No, because then we wouldn't have Graphene OS. Come on, let's be real. I think Graphene OS is Nokia made a great phone. Yeah, they truly were thinking about the user and they were trying to do. So I don't care what anyone says. This was the last phone they made before they stopped getting in the market, I think. This was great. This was such a cool idea. I want you to think about this. Yeah, but now Google is shutting it right now. So they won. But they won their lawsuit. I'm actually. This is going to be controversial. I would rather Google hold Android in their grips than an even worse company fucking take over. You got to remember, Google, as much as of a giant bitch they are, and they rely so much on the open source community that it'll never happen. They'll make it annoying, and they will eventually kind of realize we fucked up, because they don't realize Graphene OS and a bunch of people in the open source community help Android be what it is. So like they'll kind of eat their own words. We need to change, in terms of like how the problem is not really capitalism in America. The problem is these fucking companies bending the knee to profit instead of innovation. This isn't an innovation form of capitalism, but there's also no competition, aka no reason to innovate. They're killing app development. Yeah, they are. They're making it hard, but this isn't going to affect Graphene OS. This isn't going to also affect F-Droid. I think people are taking the app shit that they're doing out of context, and I'm not defending Google, but there's I don't believe they're going to have to upload any form of ID. But again, we're all speculating. This isn't into play yet. This is not until next year, and I like to not speculate. Samsung is absolutely shitty in terms of phones. Not having the choice of OS to put on my own phone is insanity. I agree, and it doesn't deserve my money. I'm actually glad I stuck with a 2019 phone. Every phone is now basically the same. True. Like, look at this. Who the fuck wouldn't want to pull this out and imagine the giant milkers you could look at. Let's be real. You could look at some insane milkers on this. And you could, while you're looking at giant milkers, you could be texting your friends. This was peak internet 5 years ago. That was 5 years ago. Peak. And then it stopped. Nonetheless, the N91 won the most innovative product and most technologically advanced product, award-winning. And by the way, Japan was ahead of us too in terms of the phone manufacturer. They were you could do what do you call it? You could take your phone and use it as a modem to like game and connect online. It was kind of insane. But yeah, you're right. Every phone is basically the same. The LG what the hell is this guy on that new tab? I don't know. He's probably listening. First off, Bluetooth, gay. Billy Bogans. That's why I switched to the Pixel phones, because Graphene OS. Previously, I've been using the Essential PH1, which was using vanilla Android. Brave ad. Not just a brave ad, but also a man using wireless headphones like a cuck in 4K. RIP to him, though. The LG was the hinge, the hardware. Oh, man. 256 gigs of storage. That should be the default by now. Variants. God, if I could find this really, really cheap, I would love to get my hands on it and like listen to like the music. If anyone comes across this, please drop it in one of the if they find it cheap, drop it in the one of my videos fucking comment section or something. Or if anyone has one, let me know. I'll exchange Monero for this. I'll send my sweet Monero for one Nokia N91 in working condition. Such a cool concept. LG used to be called the Gold Star back in the mid-90s. They made versions of the 3D system. Oh, really? LG. I just remember LG. I had a lot of LG phones throughout my life. I liked them. They were just cool. What are your thoughts on Zcash versus Monero? Zcash is a corporate shell company, shitcoin that has privacy by choice. Monero is privacy by default, and that should be the default. Just like cash, if you could choose, if you had cash and you didn't know that your cash was trackable or not, then you would be probably kind of pissed. That is because that's the assumption, is when I have cash, there is no form of traceability. No one knows it's my cash. It's just cash. I think YouTube chat delay has gone down to about 5 seconds. Nice, probably. Or I fixed my stream. I think I fixed my stream delay, and I don't think you guys can see it. If you can see my XMR chat, if somebody can tell me that there is an XMR chat thing on my video, that'd be great. Because I can't tell. I think I see it, but I'm not entirely sure. Is that it? Is I think I see it. I see it. Okay. I've never used XMR chat. So XMR chat is allow for me to take donations. I don't have there's a Monero icon at the bottom left. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. So XMR chat is where people can put stuff in the chat. It'll shout it out. I'm supposed to be able to read it. Like it's supposed to ding me. It has nothing to do with YouTube. It's a plugin. It's a really cool company. Because I'm not monetized on YouTube. I don't know if I ever will be. For my own reasons. I might turn on my monetization, but I have to really think about it, and I have to either convince myself or have somebody convince me. I have thought of my own my own arguments for it. So XMR. So because YouTube, we live in a capitalist society, which is whatever. I'm giving essentially YouTube free money, and I'm giving them free traffic, and I'm keeping people on the platform, and I am essentially doing labor for free, which I do not like to do. I'm a Bitcoin maxi, but I secretly love Monero. I'm a openly Monero maxi, and I don't like Bitcoin because it's too transparent. Next phone better be the stainless steel Pro that runs Postmarket OS, which is based on Alpine. True. You should just be able to run Alpine Linux. So my internal conflicting thought is that if I don't turn on monetization, I'm essentially giving YouTube free money. I am working for free for them. I'm bringing them traffic, and I'm providing them more value than they are providing me. Because Bitcoin is better than money, Monero is better than privacy. Yeah, you could say that, but I think Bitcoin was supposed to be Monero. I mean, I could go down a whole rabbit hole, a whole thought experiment of why I think Monero is better, money and privacy, because Monero is more fungible. But that's a complicated, that's more of a subjective and complicated conversation. But before I will touch on it. When I think Monero is both, but so by me contributing more to YouTube, it is essentially me kind of doing free work for them, and I don't really like the thought of that. This is why I like people. I'd rather have people watch me on Odyssey, even though Odyssey is a shit stain. I'd rather people have me go to Rumble or PeerTube. All are shit stains, but PeerTube is based. I love PeerTube. I'm more of a PeerTube maxi than anything, because PeerTube is decentralized. You can host and own the server. You're not behind a corporate shit company shill like Odyssey, who wants to push their shit fucking wallet in their shit coin and payment system. Rumble is just a giant political landscape for a bunch of grifters and retards. BitChute is just diet Rumble, and there is no good alternative. So for me to reach the masses, I must stay on YouTube until I collectively have enough people shift over to alternative platforms, and then I will be over there. That's what I'm kind of doing. I'm building the base over there so it exists, but it's complicated. But on the Bitcoin part and the money part, Bitcoin loses its fungibility. I think the fungibility argument stems from the lack of privacy with Bitcoin. What I hate about many Bitcoin maxis is they really underestimate the privacy aspect of Monero. I agree. Speaking of Bitcoin, OpenCL allows you to run compute tasks on GPUs. The current Mesa OpenGPL backend is RustCL based. Russ mentioned, guys. My GPU is one of the only GPUs that uses the Clover instead of the Rustix. Clover is in Mesa. Oh, based. I think fungibility argument stems from the lack of privacy. It's not just the lack of privacy. The fungibility of part of it is Bitcoin is heavily manipulated now because people are just using it probably for tax evasion or whatever. It's getting less decentralized because we have a current administration that wants to have a reserve of Bitcoin, which I disagree with because that is not decentralized. I don't want any central authority to own it. I think once the government found out that you could trace Bitcoin, they were probably more interested in it and in terms of hate. So I agree. Monero has a value solely because it's so privacy focused. People don't value the aspect enough. I would disagree. I think Clover was removed. As far as I know, there is no use flag, and I can't find any sort of Clover package in the Gen 2 repos. I'm forced to use RustCL, which doesn't support any GPU. Screw you, Mesa 3D. How about you just build it from source, man? So, I think Monero's value is not just solely based on the privacy. I think that is an argument, but you have to remember, Monero's tail emissions are finite, which they burn off to hedge against inflation. It doesn't use any form of GPU mining, which keeps it ASIC resistance. That is another aspect. I'm not saying that's a sole reason based on privacy. But no, I'm just reading it. Monero has value solely because of its privacy. No, you have to remember that Monero also doesn't use ASIC miners. It's CPU driven. I'm saying the maxis don't value the privacy enough. Yeah, true. That I agree with. But because Bitcoin isn't of value anymore, it's not. No one cares about the technology. No one in Bitcoin universe. No one talks about Bitcoin's. I'm not saying the max. They don't value the privacy enough, but also, Bitcoin maxis don't care anything more than about price. That's the issue. Bitcoin's price is the only core focus. Bitcoin used to be about technology and what it could do. I mean, look at the Lightning Network. The Lightning Network. What do you disagree with? Because the Lightning Network was the last innovation, and it's touted as it's private, but the Lightning Network isn't even really that private. There's enough evidence to show that the Lightning Network's privacy is lackluster, and there's complications with it. I sit enough time on Nostr, and I think Nostr is probably the best social media platform that we have for in terms of decentralization. Then Blue Sky, it'd be Nostr, Blue Sky, then Mastodon. That's ludicrous. What's ludicrous? You'd have to address what you disagree with and what's ludicrous, which is fine. I think people should disagree. I don't like the idea of wait. First off, what do you disagree with, and then what do you think is ludicrous? I just quoted it. Oh, I don't see you quoting it. I'm saying that you would have to requote it. Maybe YouTube. You'd have to requote it because sometimes I don't know if YouTube's deleted a comment or something. Oh, don't be sorry. You're good. I didn't see any quotes. YouTube randomly deleted live chat streams and comments for what? Yeah, no, they do. So when people, think that I don't see stuff. Sometimes YouTube, if you talk about certain words like Bitcoin or anything or crypto, I'm assuming they think it's some scam or bot or whatever, and they're deleting it. Generally, my main issues with Bitcoin, all moderation is really good, guys. YouTube 25. I typed it 3 times now. Yeah, I don't see it. I'd have to reiterate what I said. I think most Bitcoin people like generally just care about the price versus the functionality. If you disagree with that, understandable. I mean, I can't really argue for or against that. I think this is just based off like my perception. I think Monero itself is better from not just a privacy aspect, but a technology aspect and a fungibility aspect. And fungibility is, people may say it's good or bad, but when you look at the lack of innovation with Bitcoin, maxis only care about price. Okay. I mean, talk to the average like Bitcoin user. How is this getting filled? I don't know. Actually, that's kind of an interesting thing. That's really funny. So YouTube turned woke. That's crazy. So like, Monero's price is generally the lack of the conversation in most cases. Sometimes I meme about like I'll do the meme. I'll do the meme. I'm like Monero at $300 is like buying Bitcoin at $1. I get all the kinds of normal ass responses that get immediately filtered. Yeah. So like I do joke and like meme about that, like buying Monero at $300 is like buying Bitcoin at $1, guys. What are you doing? We finally got Honeypot to laugh for more than 2 seconds, guys. True. But I think the majority of maxis do care about the price because they look at it as an investment opportunity, and it is a form of digital sovereignty because there is no banking institution. There's no banking institution. I'll take the credit for that. So the Bitcoin's value comes from a few things. Majority of maxis definitely care about the price only. So here's the thing: Bitcoin is a unique type of property. Obviously, it's digital, and the store value is really coming from society. Other than that, it's just numbers on paper. Do I think Bitcoin has a value? Yes. Do I think that it allows you to have some form of digital sovereignty? Sure. You can buy Bitcoin at 3 a.m. You can buy with cash. You can do an offline wallet. You can really take the ownership of it. And I agree with that, but that's about it. That's like realistically it. The Lightning Network, the only good thing about the Lightning Network, and the only reason I use it is because it's fast and cheap. That's it. Bitcoin Lightning is the hooker of Bitcoin. Fast, cheap. Fast to send payments, and I don't think Monero will ever reach those speeds. Maybe in the future. That would be great. There is some problems with Monero's liquidity, but this is because Monero gets delisted, and it gets delisted because federal agents don't like Monero because they can't crack it and they can't find it. They can't find who owns it. All the people that have been caught with Monero have either had Bitcoin maxis or are fans of Bitcoin because of the Austrian, Austrian economics. Some. Actually, it's been a minute since I've looked at the Austrian economics. My favorite country. So, surprisingly, if I ever became un-American and I went to another country, it'd be Austria or Prague because they still have good self gun laws. You can own and conceal carry in these two countries. You still have like somewhat of a constitutional protected ownership of guns, which is kind of cool. But interesting. Let's see what the internet says. But I think the vast majority of I'm going to look at the Bitcoin average users, the the Gen Xers, the 40-year-olds. Most of them, any behavior of Austrian economics is not going to care about the Bitcoin price because it's priced in fiat dollars. Well, actually, a big problem with a lot of the people that buy Bitcoin, they just generally trade it for fiat. They don't use it. But here's the thing: is with Monero, I use it. I use it a lot, actually. Surprisingly, I barely hold. I'll never get to take advantage of Monero price increase because I use it. I just use it as a form of currency. But I see what you're saying. But that's your point. The Austrian school of Hexadoris, the school of economic thought that advocates strict adherence in a social science method. Individualism is a method for expressing social phenomena strictly in terms of the decision individuals being moved by their own personal motivation and contrast expression. Okay. Yeah, because yes, Bitcoin is priced into fiat dollars, and because it's priced in fiat dollars, people are going to exchange it for fiat dollars, thus making Bitcoin more of a not really its own commodity. The article is missing information about the school's context in cryptocurrencies. Please talk. Please expand the article. Okay, balls. Anyone who looks like this though. Interesting. Okay, let's. Look, Milton Friedman would have loved Fent and Bitcoin. That'd be crazy. Milton Friedman just doing Fent and trading Bitcoin. Okay, so let's look at the history. The Austrian school owns its name of members to the German historical school of economics who argued against the Austrians during the late 19th century Methodist methodology struggle in which Austrians defended the role of theory in economics as a district from study or complication of historical circumstances. In 1883, Menger published the Investigation into the Method of Social Science with special reference to economics, which attacked the methods of historical school. Gustav von German last name, a leader of historical school, responded with an unfavorable review coming in the terms Austrian school, an attempt to characterize the school as outcast and provinical. The label endured and was adopted and adhered themselves. The school originated in Vienna and Austria-Hungary. Karl Menger's 1871 book, Principles Economics, is generally considered the founding of Austrian school. The book was one of the first modern treatises to advance the theory of marginal utility. Marginal utility is in a mainstream economics describes as the change in utility of one unit of a good or service. Marginal utility can be positive, negative, or zero. Negative marginal utility implies that every consumed additional unit of commodity causes more harm than good, leading to a Interesting. This is a good thought to have. Interesting. I've actually never read. I like reading weird economic theories. Or just economic theory in general. Marginal utility of a good service. Marginal utility can be positive, negative, or zero. Negative marginal utility implies that every consumed additional unit of commodity causes more harm than good, leading to a decrease in overall utility. In contrast, positive marginal utility indicates that every additional unit consumed increases overall utility. In the context, cardinal utility, liberal economics postulate a law of diminishing marginal utility. This law states that the first unit of consumption of a good or service yields more satisfaction or utility than the subsequent units, and there is a continuing reduction in satisfaction or utility. Austrian economics are the only economics that actually make sense. Well, this is kind of interesting. This is the kind of reminds me of the paradox of choice, where we're getting diminishing returns because right now in the 21st century in 2025, we actually have more choice and more options than ever in human history. At any point in time. Any point in time, we have more choice, more options right now, yet we have the least amount of pleasure and the least amount of happiness and the least amount of actually satisfaction. This goes back to our conversation earlier about music. When you have Spotify and it's basically describing why the people closest to the money printers are getting the most benefits. Yeah, that's probably true. Generally, in most economic societies where people, this is why most millionaires and trillionaires and people that have like unmanageable wealth, most of them have government contracts or they're very close tied into politicians, and most of them will not only have government contracts and be tied to politicians, it's because they can increase their wealth. But that's like a whole nother fucking thing. And again, I generally don't have I mean, capitalism is not good nor evil. It's just a system. But we're in the era of surveillance capitalism, and we're in the era of capitalism where it's unchecked. I think it's not checked capitalism. I think it's capitalism with a lot of problems. And I mean, that gets into like a whole different type of topic and debate. Utility is an economic concept that refers to the level of satisfaction. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So this is more of like, but this goes into, what I'm reading from this is I'm taking it at face value of, I like to call it crony. Yeah, some people call it crony capitalism. I don't know if that fits the bill. I've watched different people's theory on crony capitalism, but I mean, if that's what fits the bill and like satisfies people's desire, it's kind of like a hard thing to argue against and or for, because people are going to have their interpretation of capitalism. Some people say capitalism is evil. I don't think an economic system is considered evil. It's just a thing. It's a tool. It's like a gun. It's like a hammer. You can take any tool and use it for absolute evil and absolute power. I think this is just a problem that we have in American society. We are one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and yet we have no ability to be able to fund like a universal healthcare system. But at the same time, we think that we should have individual liberty, yet all these fucking quote unquote libertarian thought leaders, yet they get all government contracts and ask for the government to bail them out. Like the piece of shit fucking SB Bank, that fucking retard who's like, oh, I'm a hardcore libertarian, brother. I think we need small government. But when they hit bankruptcy, they're like, please bail me out. I need it. That's the problem. So that's why I say Americans don't have real libertarians. They're just fake. They're fake libertarians. They're pretend libertarians. But that's my opinion. You know, like they'll have the "Don't tread on me" flag, but then they're like, the neocon just seeps out of their asshole when they hear that we just secured more defense contracts. They're like, please, more defense contracts, Daddy. By definition, I like to. Yeah, sure. That's just my rant on it. I get the sentiment for it though. I know where you're coming from. France are often regarded as the early predecessor of the Austrian School of Economics due to development of subject theory, value, advocate free market principles. Actually, I'll even say that France knows how to do. There's like some countries that know how to fucking do protesting right. Like they burn their government buildings and destroy it, and then just they kick out their politicians. But this is one thing I will say that America has that Europe doesn't. In Europe, if someone in the parliament disagrees, they don't really have like a say and a split of powers. In the U.S., we have some form of split of powers, and this is why a lot of our fucking shit. I mean, like this is why a lot of our due process takes so long, because it's people arguing and they actually have power. You know, this is where like filibustering. People have said that filibustering should be just taken away completely because it slows down the process of a lot of things, and then This is where people like judges can like vote for and against stuff. What was that quote about that blood of tyrants being refreshed every 20 years or something like that? I'm not sure, but it sounds like something from South Park for some reason. The Austrian school was one of the three founding currents of marginalist revolution of the 1870s, with its major contribution being introduction of the subjectivist approach in economics. Despite such claims, John Stuart Mill had used value in the use of sense of 1884, a principles of political economy, where he wrote value is use, or as Miss D. Quincy calls it, teleological value. Thomas Jefferson. Oh, really? You should have said Richard Stallman. I would have still believed you, and it would have been kind of funny. Blood of Tyrants and Microsoft proprietary software. Richard Stallman, I think. Value is the extreme limit of value in exchange. The exchange of value of a thing may fall short to any amount. It's of its value in use, but it can never exceed the value in use. Implies a contradiction. It's supposed that a person will give to possess a thing or more than utmost value in which they themselves put upon and it means gratifying indications. Interesting. Earlier 20th century, Frank Albert Fetter was a leader in the United States Austrian thought. He obtained his PhD in 1894 from the University of Hull, and there he was made the professor of political economic and finance at Cornell University in 1901. Several important Austrian economics trained at the University of Vienna in 1920s and later principal in private seminars held by Ludwig von Mises. These include Gottfried Balz, Frederick, a bunch of French names and German names, son of Karl Menger, Oscar Morgenstern, blah, 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 blah. Other amongst, as well as the sociologist Alfred Schultz. By the mid-1930s, most economists had embraced what they considered the important contribution of the early Austrians. Frisch Marshall quoted the great success of a school is it stops existing because its fundamental teachings have become a part of the general body of commonly accepted thought. Actually, something to think about. The United States biggest economic boom was closely when we had one of the... I know people don't like tax, and I get it. It's whatever. But the biggest economic boom and stretch of the United States was when we had the highest taxes in the United States. I believe it was 90% on a marginal of over like a certain amount, like $300K. Most Americans never met this. It's quite interesting because after that got axed, some people blame Reaganomics. In contrast, were the so in the United States during Hoover, I think we had the highest tax rate in society in America. It was 90%. No, but it was over like $300K. This was the biggest economic shift and boom in America in the 1950s. This is actually a very cool thing to to learn about. Can you provide a source for that? Yeah. Right here. So the highest marginal tax rate in the United States during the 1950s was 91%, which is applied to income over 200K for single fathers and 400K for this. This was rate peaked at 92% in 1952, 1953, reverting to 91 remainder of the decade, while the statutory tax margin rate is 98%. The effective tax paid rate by most income earners were significantly lower, estimated to be between 42 and 45% due to deductions, exemptions, tax shelters available at the time. Why do you put the Proton Mail on Brave Home? It said something about... Oh, that was just... You know how they do ads? That was just an ad in the back. I don't use Proton anymore. It's a Brave ad. You think I'm that retarded? Yeah, so most people most people were not paying for this, but they were averaging about 42 to 45%. But all these people are going to say, oh, they did tax avoidance. I mean, we do this now. There is the Kansas City experiment. Yeah, but there were people that were the corporations and people that were making this at the time were paying this, and it kind of like shifted into why it was helping with the economic boom. Even at the low end they were paying 42 to 45%, but there is something called the so like in Germany gets, this is actually a really interesting experiment. So Germany top marginal tax rate is 40%. So that 40% is barely ever hit. Yet they do have a private sector for healthcare. It's not all public. The average income right now, I think in Germany is about 60K. So most people that make over, I think, 100K will pay the top like 40%, 45%. People under that will pay like 30 or something. But it's kind of interesting. The effects of tax rate for the wealthiest individuals were seemingly lower. Yeah. Still, 42 to 45% is higher than what we have now. I mean, the highest I've seen is like 30%. But most rich people will make under that. They'll put all their money, and this is where I get where you get like the cronyism from. Most people will take their income and they'll put it at like 70K, even though they're worth millions, and they'll take out loans. And you can't tax debt, because you can't tax debt. They're like, oh, I only make $1 a year or something or whatever. What does it even matter? The effective tax rate for the because it matters, because this is people well, it matters for a few reasons. People say that like we should just eliminate taxes. Taxing rich people at 80% isn't going to make a dent. Not entirely sure. People say that. So here's the problem. People want to do a 10%. They want to do a consumption tax, 10%, make it flat. This would hurt people that make in the current tax system right now. This would hurt people more that have to pay zero in taxes. So if I have to pay 10% tax on $28,000 versus zero, I'm paying more. So this is the problem. There is a theory that I've considered probably the most ethical way to do it is the Georgism, taxing the land value. But that's, I mean, you have to understand, you have to go down the Georgism route, doing a land value tax, which is its own rabbit hole to go down, and people agree with it and disagree with it and argue for. I don't think there's actually a way to do it. In my personal, like, you have to go around the economic boom of America taxing more rich people. This would bring in more income, and in theory, if people pay less in taxes at lower income brackets, they would benefit for a better environment. Some form, like, kind of like, what do you call it? So, like, gentrification sounds bad in theory, but why would you be against your city getting better? Turn your mic down. No. I have to redo my mic, by the way. So, like, taxing the rich might in theory not do anything, but this is ridiculous nonsense. Not really. I mean, again, like people have not really, because like people have like their own theory. If lowering tax, there's already been shown that lowering taxes do nothing. So like saying it's nonsense is like we have economic data. The Kansas experiment is a perfect example of this. So the Kansas experiment was given to a controversial and widely known tax cut policy agenda of Kansas. Governor Sam Brobeck began in it. Essentially, it failed. I mean, you can go down and look at the Reaganomics issue. I just explained why it is. Most I don't know what you explained a couple of things, so I'm not entirely sure. We've actually shown like where we've cut taxes and it does nothing. It doesn't help people. So like even in some economic theory where people are like, let's cut taxes down to the lowest possible thing we can do, it doesn't. Negative inflation sounds like an insane theory where people like where inflation gets so low that people stop spending their money. What are you talking about? Cutting taxes? There's something called the Kansas experiment where they cut taxes to such a low rate it doesn't do anything. You're not even talking about the same thing. Oh wait, no. Then what are you talking about? I thought you were referring tax, or are you talking about taxing the rich at 80% isn't going to make a dent? Wait, no, I don't know what you're talking about now. I'm confused. And I'm not the colon. Oh, taxing people at 80% isn't going to make a dent. I don't even have a tax percentage of what you could tax people at that would make a dent, because companies now can make they can put their stuff into debt which you can't tax. So I agree with that. That's not even. I don't even disagree with what you're saying. Taxing people at 80% would do nothing, because with the policies that we have today, where I can put everything into debt and you can't tax debt, it would do nothing. This is why Trump's policy on taxing overtime and not taxing overtime and taxes is retarded. The government doesn't operate on a balance. Yeah, the government operates on pretty much debt. I mean, people that complain about governmental debt are kind of retarded. The government doesn't operate at a net positive. No government does. It's not possible. The governments operate as they're not a government is not a business. So I agree. It's not supposed to operate in a positive factor. It's not going to. It's kind of like a service. I think people misrepresent that. I mean, again, I'll never say that it is possible only on a hard money standard. Sure, but I don't think, again, that government is the government to me is, in my opinion, is a service. It is a debt negative. It doesn't operate in a monetary positive. It's not a business. It is like when the police, like, we're going to read something real quick. This is actually one of my favorite things. This makes me laugh. Services are businesses, but there's services that we benefit from society that doesn't matter if it's there's services that we benefit that society benefit from regardless of if they're positive or negative. I mean, businesses have loss leaders where they lose money and they gain in the end. I think the government's just a giant loss leader. Like, I don't want to have a those services can be provided by a private. I don't agree with. I think there are some things that shouldn't be private. There should just be public, and there's no need for government for those services. Like, I don't really. Where is it? Where is it? The libertarian. what is it? This is a funny meme. Damn it, I need to find this. It's a funny one. Yes. Here it is. I mean, everyone says that. This is why we haven't changed to like a libertarian party or went completely private. No country's really done it. I mean, if you can point to a country that done it and why it hasn't happened, I mean, it's 2025. Why hasn't it happened by now? I mean, the idea of libertarianism isn't new. Everyone says this too, and I wait. I put timers in my phone, and it's just funny. They're like, I mean, why don't we just do anarchy? Let's just remove like the entire government. I mean, government's not need. When you can make that, I think it's just a lazy argument. Like people are like, there's no need for government, small government, not big government. And then you find cases where like it's good to have big government to smack around the fucking small government when the government fuck around and find out. Why doesn't it happen? Because corrective government exists. Why doesn't it happen anywhere else in the world? You know, just saying. I mean, Argentina just elected their first libertarian government. They just got a huge bailout from the U.S. So that's kind of crazy. Like that's why it's just funny. Like it's not gonna happen. It's just once you developed your. I think Sam Hyde said it. Once you develop, I gotta find the clip. It's really funny actually. Frontal lobe. There's a really funny clip. He's like, once you develop your frontal lobe, you realize libertarians.
One thing that personally startled me was how quickly
the Proton Mail New York flight ad came up again.
My own libertarian principles went out the window when I realized that Larry Fink buying Bitcoin would make my bags go up. The privacy element which Ross and Silk Road wanted to maintain has failed in principle, a great ideal, but this outlines the fatal flaw in libertarianism, italicized, the real world. You guys don't even know about how fun libertarianism was back in the day, because you could go online and you could pretend and imagine a scenario where there were like private police. This is the type of thing, if you were on the computer in 2013...
This isn't demonstrating your point. It's definitely demonstrating my point. Sam Hyde's argument where your frontal lobe hasn't developed yet is why libertarianism hasn't. And we haven't privatized anything. I mean, the Kansas experiment kind of proved it. Like, they went to... what'd they cut the taxes down to? It was like an insane amount, and it severely underfunded everything, and they shut it down. I mean, that's like libertarian ideology, is reduce as much government control and taxes as possible. But we're going to read this. The Libertarian Police Department. Because, like, here's the thing. If there are some libertarian policies and politicians that I agree with, and I just countered your arguments before you played the video. Why hasn't it happened? Because conservative government exists, duh. It's not really countering our argument. You're just saying something exists. Air exists, guys. So that means non-air exists. Just because something hasn't happened doesn't mean... Just because something doesn't happen doesn't necessarily mean that it will happen, sure. But it hasn't happened for a reason. Hasn't happened for a reason in almost 300 years. Just saying. I mean, no, I can't read. I'm retarded. And again, we had Ron Paul. Ron Paul didn't even work out. Serving our attendant core, having power to constrain. Because we have a powerful government. I mean, that's just cope. Vote. Look at all the libertarians that voted for. We had Ron Paul. I mean, just saying. I mean, me pronouncing a word isn't really relevant. It doesn't matter. Ron Paul was like the most strongest contender for the Libertarian department, and I mean, look at Joe Jordanson. Me not pronouncing a word though is irrelevant. I'm old enough to fuck your mom. I was shooting heroin and reading the Fountainhead in the front seat of. This is every time the libertarian people that pop up out of nowhere. I do quite love it because their skin starts to sweat because they realize that their frontal lobe hasn't really developed. Yeah, the Libertarian Department. Yeah, Libertarian Police Department. We have to consume this beforehand. I mean, you could take even an anarchist approach and be like, I mean, libertarianism is just second wave pussy government shills because you still have a government. At the end of the day, you should have zero government. Why did that happen? I'm just saying, like, it's just it's all relatively gay, to be honest. That's why I mean, all the fake libertarians in America, quite literally, voted for the craziest administration because they voted for the craziest person because they released Ross Ulbricht was kind of crazy. But we're gonna read LPD, Libertarian Police Department. I was shooting heroin and reading the Fountainhead in the front seat of my privately owned police cruiser when the call came in. I put a quarter into the radio and activated it. It was the chief. Bad news, detective. We got a situation. What? Is the mayor trying to ban trans fat again? Which, I didn't say you did. I'm just saying. I'm not assuming anyone voted for anyone. I'm just saying that he went to the Libertarian Party conference. A bunch of people were like, fuck yeah, you're going to release Ross Ulbricht, which he'd have done like forever ago. And then he quite literally fucking put the boot on the snake. I didn't imply anything. Implying something is bad and would be kind of gay and retarded. Assuming, which is what you're doing, which is what I'm doing. I'm assuming you're assuming I'm implying, which is gay. Why? I'm not mad at you. You think I get mad at people on the internet? That's funny. I put okay, we gotta go over here. I was shooting heroin and reading the Fountainhead in the front seat of my privately owned police cruiser. Sure. I'm gonna think about this one tomorrow, guys. When the call came in, I put a quarter in the radio to activate it. It was the chief. You keep responding to me. Humans will always come back to government-like structure. Just joking. I'm just joking. Saying America is an LLC. That's true. America is an LLC. Trust me, I respond to everyone. It doesn't matter. Like Jay Ellis when he comes on here and I respond to him about having a family. You need to stop reading comments on the internet. No, never. I love reading comments on the internet. Comments on the internet are the reason I breathe. I was shooting heroin and reading the Fountainhead in the front seat of my privately owned police cruiser when a call came in. I put a quarter into the radio and activated it. It was the chief. Bad news, detective. We got a situation. What? Is the mayor trying to ban trans fats again? Worse, somebody just stole $447 million worth of Bitcoins. The heroin needle practically fell out of my arm. What kind of monster would do something like that? Bitcoins are the ultimate currency, virtual, anonymous, even though they're not, stateless, not really anymore, and the represented true economic freedom, not subjected to arbitrary manipulation by any government. Yes, they are. Do we have any leads? Bitcoins? I mean, you can say Bitcoins. You need to stop reading my... Oh, you just did it again? Anyone can say bitcoins because Bitcoin, you can use bitcoins plurally. I don't know. It just might be a Midwestern thing, brother. The heroin needle practically fell out of my arm. What kind of monster would do this? Bitcoins are our ultimate currency, virtual, anonymous, stateless. They represent true economic freedom, not subject to arbitrary manipulation by any government. Do we have any leads? Not yet, but mark my words, we're going to figure out who did this and we're going to take them down, provided someone pays us a fair market rate to do so. Easy, Chief. I said any rate the market offers is by definition fair. True. It is by definition fair. He laughed. That's why you're the best I got, Wazowski. Now you got to go out there and get to find those bitcoins. You're pretty terrible at reading. That's the point. I never said I could read. You're assuming, which is kind of ableist and gay. Don't worry, I said. I'm on it. I put a quarter in the siren. 10 minutes later, I was on the scene. It was a normal office building, strangled on all sides by the public sidewalks. I hopped over them and went inside. Home Depot, trademark, presents the police. I said, flashing my badge and my gun at the small picture of Ron Paul. Trolls are out tonight, for real. Nobody move unless you want to. They didn't. Now, which one of you punks is going to pay me to investigate this crime? No one spoke up. Come on. I said, don't you all understand the protection of private property is the foundation of all personal liberty? Pop quiz. How do you know how to present, etc.? Of course. Just like I know how to pronounce fucking your mom. Come on, I said, don't you understand liberty? It doesn't seem like they did. Seriously, guys, without a strong economic motivator, I'm just going to stand here and not solve this case. Cash is fine, but I prefer being paid in gold bullion or autographed pen Gillette posters. Arson, you must be fun at parties. He's probably not, but it's okay. Nothing. These people will stonewall me. It's almost like they didn't even care that a fortune of computer money invented by drugs was missing. I figured I could wait them out. I lit several cigarettes indoors. The pregnant lady coughed. I told her that secondhand smoke is a myth, and just then a man in glasses made a break for it. Subway, eat fresh and free, scumbag. Trademark. I yelled. Too late. He was already out the front door. I went after him. Stop right there, I yelled. I ran. He was faster than me because I always try to avoid stepping on public sidewalks. Our country needs private sidewalk voucher system. But thanks to the incestuous interplay between our corporate federal government and the public sidewalk lobby, it will never happen. True. Look, guys, we need a private voucher system for public sidewalks. We don't need public sidewalks anymore. I was losing him. Listen, I'll pay you to stop, I yelled. What would you consider an appropriate price for a point for stopping? I'll offer you a 13th ounce of gold and a gently worn Bob Barr 2008 extra large long sleeve men's t-shirt. He turned. In his hand was a revolver that the Constitution said he had every right to own. He fired at me, missed. I pulled out my own gun, put a quarter in it, and I fired back. The bullet lodged in the United States Postal Service mailbox, less than a foot from his head. I shot the mailbox again, on purpose. All right, the man yelled, throwing down his weapon. I give up, cop. I confess, I took the bitcoins. Why would you do it, I asked, as I slapped a pair of Okio's trademark Greek yogurt presents handcuffs on the guy. This sounds like Richard Stallman fanfic. This is Richard Stallman fanfic. Because I was afraid of an economic future free from promiscuous, meddling central bankers. He said, I'm a central banker. I wanted to cold cock the guy. Years ago, a central banker killed my partner. Instead, I shook my head. Let this be a message to all you central banker friends on the street. I said, no matter how many bitcoins you steal, you'll never take away the dream of an open society based on the principle of personal and economic freedom. He nodded because he knew I was right. Then he swiped his credit card to pay me for arresting him. And that is the Libertarian Police Department, guys. Though, for real, I got to get this Nokia N91.
you'd be on these forums. I mean, at least if you were me, talking about how, yeah, if we just, who's going to build the roads? Corporations that are paid by people that want to use the road.
105-minute stream. Wow. Yeah, I'm pumping up these numbers so that our grand YouTube will recommend me to concurrent viewers, so that they know that I'm a very serious individual, and I support and love YouTube. I have no negative thoughts about it. Everything that I say about negative about YouTube is a joke, and I take it back.
Roads, my friend. We're going to have private police. This is what. Do you guys know what libertarianism is? Do you know what libertarianism is?
Vaguely.
Vaguely?
Vaguely.
What is your understanding of libertarianism?
Everybody just let people be, right? Isn't that the idea? It's just leave
Here's
people
the
to their
core
own
tenet
devices.
of libertarianism. I want trans weed farmers defending their weed farm.
Yeah, more engagement, guys. Remember, arguing in the comments just feeds the engagement. Actually, this is kind of based Sam Hyde moment.
Arms with AK-47s in space.
This is the libertarian dream that I want.
I want trans weed farmers defending their weed farms with AK-47s in space.
Engagement is engagement, even if it's 2 hours. And it's an hour and 47 minutes and 59 seconds. An hour and 48 minutes and 1 second. Debated.
That is the central principle of libertarianism.
I can get behind it.
On paper,
I can get behind it too, guys. I want to defend trans weed farmers with my AK-47 so they can sell me weed in return.
there's so much to libertarianism that looks like it would work. If you're creating a worldview in your head, which is the same thing that anybody does with an erroneous worldview, so it's not really that surprising. It's just I personally did this with libertarianism and not communism or something like it. You can really make yourself believe that legal weed and private police, something like that would work. And then you grow up and you realize that the problem with the world is
greedy corporation.
You know what? I've talked to you for months now, right? Yeah. I don't pay attention to who talks to me for months. It's fine. I don't care who's talked to me for months, man. It's the internet. I embrace and enjoy and love everyone who comes into my chat. Because engagement is good engagement. It's got the word gay in it. Remember that. Engagement. Gay-chment. I've been the only person talking to you for this time after time. Oh my God, everyone's just Billy, guys. It's only one person. It's actually all Ryan. It's all Jay Ellis, guys. I've been the only person talking to you for time after time. After time. Guys, it's only one it's all Ryan. Billy Bo Jenkins isn't real. Jay Ellis isn't real. It's all Ryan. It all makes sense now. I'm cooked. All 2,000 subscribers, trademark, are actually you. The internet's fake. Ooh. It's a meme. Where is it? $2,226. Beautiful subscribers. All love and support from the homies, and I appreciate all of them. Ooh, 9 days ago. It reminds me, I gotta do something. Huh. Let me go to the studio. Yeah, 2,262 subscribers. All love and support from them. Appreciate them. You know what? Never mad. It's all bots, man. Everyone's Billy Bo Jenkins. Peace, love, nowhere. Jay, you have a loving family. So that's true. Unless dead internet theory is Magic the Mongolian. True. Magic the Gathering is actually dead internet theory. If you play Magic the Gathering, the internet's not real. Yikes. On one. Ooh. If you play Magic the Gathering, then you'll turn into a dead internet theory Magic Mongolian. Wasn't Attila the Hun was Mongolian, right? He had like control is only an illusion. Wait, would it, no, control wouldn't be an illusion. It's pretty. Damn it. What a bitch. I mean, control over your... I mean, if you're a determinist, if you believe in determinism or, like, some form of determinism, you can definitely think that you have no control, but, you know, that gets into its own thought. This is the way, guys. Goblin mode. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he kill? Whatever. And he quits because he would have lost. Postman is worth $313 million. That's crazy. That's kind of cool. So Coinbase, the shitty company, will use Ironfish's ZK proofs to make massive amounts of address with read-only access for authorities. Oh, wow. Very cool. Very based. Base, guys. All right. I will see you in the next one. Thank you for stopping by. Remember to argue in the comments for the algorithm. Appreciate all of you. See you later.